Welcome to the Gore N More podcast with your hosts TJ Bowser, Chad Chrisman, and Big Johnny D. We have such sights to tell you.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Gore N More podcast. This is your host with the most, TJ Bowser, and joining me today is Jason Rising actor Dan Kyle.
Hello, TJ.
What's up, man? Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on the show. I'm very excited.
Thank you. So, how was your week, man?
Week was great. Last week was a very good week. Very busy. I'm filming a few projects, and I just wrapped up on The Birch that's filming here. It's going to be a new show from Crypt TV that they will be showing very soon. And I am under strict NDA contract, so I can't talk about it too much, but it's going to be a very cool horror show that's going to be shown on Facebook Watch.
Oh.
I play a character in that, and that's part of Facebook's new content, and it's a very creepy show. So I'm excited about that. I had a 3-week contract, and my week ended middle of last week, and then various other projects. I had a commercial for Nike, and so and doing a lot of work getting ready for filming Jason Rising. So there's always work to be done in that, and contacting James Sweet and other people about the production, and we've reached our goal last week, so we're very excited about that for our campaign funding, and always stuff to do.
I can't wait to see what you guys do with that. I'm so hyped for Jason Rising, man.
Excellent. Yeah, everybody that's involved in it. A lot of people that we've talked to, people obviously seeing the trailers, and Vincent coming on board and getting involved. It's really exciting. We're really proud of what we've got going, and very excited of what we're going to be doing in the future with it.
Absolutely, man. So before we get into your interview, we'll play a quick message from the sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Great.
Gore N More is brought to you in part by A New Kind of Fear Customs. Friday the 13th inspired custom gaming controllers, hockey masks, action figures, and more. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at anewkindofear.com. Do you like photography and Friday the 13th? Then check out 13 Gallows Lane. You can find them on Facebook at Gallo Goes to Hell, Twitter and Instagram at 13 Gallows Lane, and on Patreon at Emily Helene. Warning, some content not safe for work. Do you like horror movies, collecting, and enamel pins? Then check out Creative Terror Pins. You can find them on Facebook and Instagram and at creativeterrorpins.com. And we are back. So, first question, Dan. What was your approach to playing Jason Voorhees?
Great question. The initial approach was, looking at the characters, like Jason Voorhees is so iconic and has a lot of fans, and has been, the franchise has been around for many, many years, and everybody knows the guy in the hockey mask, Jason Voorhees. So it's one I didn't take lightly. To me, Jason Voorhees is more than a hockey mask and a machete. What's his motivation? Why is he doing this? Is he just a mongoloid that's misunderstood? Is he doing this for his mother? What's about his past, his father, all of that, and finding some sort of, visceral, like deeper motivation, that keeps Voorhees alive, and with a lot of personal work and other work that I've done with other monster work and stuff, trying to develop more of a deeper character. It's like I said, it's Jason Voorhees is more than just putting on a hockey mask and a machete. It's that's easy to do for Halloween. What can we do to you know, have some sort of, deeper meaning or drive with this iconic character. And it's not very easy to do. And it's something that I take very seriously because I want to give back to the fans and the people that watch this and say, yeah, I dig that Jason. I dig Dan Kyle's version. I like that. And that's what you hope to do. You're not going to be able to please everybody, but you want to do your very best and bring your very best every day to set with your character of Voorhees and in the hopes of, fulfilling that mission to the fans.
Awesome. What was it like? What was it like playing an iconic character like Jason Voorhees?
Pretty much every day I have to pinch myself. And think about this character that you're playing that's so iconic that you've fallen in love with as a kid. I remember watching, part 1 and 2 and seeing, Jason develop, and it's like you just fall in love with that character, and now you get the chance to actually play this character in a fan film, and it's surreal. It's like I said, I constantly have to reflect and go, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm very excited to do it. Sometimes I'm stunned at, because looking at all the fan base and how iconic he is and stuff, it's very exciting to say the least. It's being able to play Jason Voorhees is an honor and a privilege. And like I said, it's not something to be taken lightly. And I am really excited to put everything I have into this character to bring something that everybody will enjoy.
Excellent. What makes your portrayal of Jason stand out from others?
I think, watching and seeing all the movies and interviews of other actors that have played Voorhees, it's how do you recreate this character with your own version and do something different, but you be able to be in the same mind frame and the same sort of general area of Voorhees, but have a personal touch to it. And, try not to, bring your own flavor to it. And I think with doing something maybe a little bit different than others, James Sweet, the director, one of his things is he doesn't want this robotic type, motionless, like zombie type of thing that walks through the woods. A lot of things we discussed of being somewhat more, having some sort of intelligence, having some sort of cold feeling and bringing that to the character, hopefully, has a different feel and a different take, but still staying within the tradition of the series and the character and the genre.
Awesome. So what is your experience on the set of Jason Rising so far?
So we've shot a bunch of trailer stuff, concept stuff. We start filming the initial first several pages the end of this month. And it's been awesome. James is easy to work with. Carl is awesome to work with. Freddie, the other castmates that I've worked with. It's been a lot of fun. Sometimes it's been cold. Sometimes you get wet. Sometimes the mask gets itchy and uncomfortable. Sometimes it gets hot wearing that stuff. But you just roll through the motions, and sometimes you use that uncomfortability and to fuel your work or your character. But it's been very fun. It's people like to be killed by Jason in some sort of weird way. And that's always fun when somebody's willing to yes, kill me, smash my face, drive that spike through my eye or whatever macabre way is people, it's fun working with people that want to be killed by Jason, and it makes my job easier and everybody else's job easier.
Absolutely.
Been really great on set so far. Having a great time.
What will make Jason Rising stand out amongst so many other Friday the 13th fan films?
I think with our approach, James Sweet approach, and Vincent getting on board, James had talked about, that same very question. How can we separate ourselves and make something, original and different? And I think, story is a big factor. What drives the characters, the approach of how we film, cinematography. I think a lot of that, and mainly, the story. Having a really good story and Jason being part of this story can really, maybe show something different or a different style. And then as far as like my Voorhees, maybe, having him run in certain parts or being very quick and then slow or different movements, showing different things and filming different things and then collaborating together and seeing what the best version we can get that's, somewhat different. But again, staying with that tradition of Friday the 13th and not, stepping outside the lines too much. I think you can step outside the lines a little bit, but if you step out way too much, then it gets way too, we're staying away from anything campy, which is fine. In some movies, we love campy stuff. I think, I know that Jason Takes Manhattan isn't necessarily a favorite of a lot of fans, but I remember watching the trailer for it many years ago, and I just thought that was him looking at the billboard with the NHL, the Professional Hockey League or whatever it was, and having this look. I don't know, for some reason I just thought that was great. It was just like, and stuff like that we're kind of staying away from, not too campy, but in certain situations and I thought it worked for Jason Takes Manhattan. I actually like that part. Some people may not or whatever, but just something very horror driven, very horrific, and kind of less we're staying away from the campiness.
Excellent, man. What is it like working with Vincent DiSanti?
Well, James has been working with Vincent directly. I have not talked to Vincent yet. So most of the information I get from James, and James is just absolutely, we're all floored that Vincent came on board to lend his help and, some ideas that James has and discussing with Vincent, and Vincent just, wholeheartedly just giving his all to help out is really saying something. And we all feel very blessed that Vincent has come on board to help out, and it's really great, and it creates a lot of buzz, and which we like, and it's going to help bring something different.
Awesome. So, what are some things that you would like to accomplish with this film?
I think my main goal personally, for me, for the character of Jason, is people to go, yeah, I dig Dan Kyle's version. That's my, my initial, if you want to say like selfish, type of, I want to please fans. I want the fans I want fans to fall in love with Jason Voorhees. That's my goal. How do I get you to fall in love with me? And then, of course, spreading to, the whole production, making something that people can fall in love with and go, man, that was a great show. Thank you. That's what I wanted to see from a Friday the 13th fan film. And, that's our main goal is can we feel, proud of something that we can put out there that the fans fall in love with. And if we can do that, then man, we won. That's our goal.
What other projects have you worked on besides mentioned?
Well, let's see. As far as I did a stint on Grimm or 2 years. I think it was 2 years ago. I was in the last 2 episodes of season 5. Last summer, I was on a week on Z Nation. That was a lot of fun. I'm going to be filming a Microsoft commercial as an orc at the end of this month. And this is going to be the 3rd installment. I was up in Toronto. I did a commercial up there as this orc in Toronto in October. That was interesting. Walking a llama down downtown Toronto is interesting. That was pretty cool. And then a year prior to that was our first installment of the orc, and they love it, and we just keep doing that, and that's a fun one to do. Playing different, a lot of work that I've done is like prosthetics and heavy makeup, and zombies and stuff for commercials, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work. A lot of times, people will see you in like full prosthetics or something and be like, dude, I want to do that. Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah.
Because it's really cool. It does. In the final product, obviously, in a lot of stuff, it's really neat and it's cool, but there's a lot of work involved. Many, many hands of many hardworking men and women behind the scenes to make you look really good. And, that's always fun seeing the final product, but there's definitely a lot of work involved. I just finished last week. I wrapped. I was on 3 weeks of a new show called The Birch by Crypt TV, and that will be shown sometime in the near future on Facebook Watch. So I'm really excited about that character. No prosthetics, but a lot of blood. So. Definitely something for Gore N More fans if they're interested in horror. This is going to be a great piece. I'm excited about that one too.
What does Friday the 13th mean to you?
What does Friday the 13th mean to me? It's a great question. Friday the 13th means to me, it's like, I always go back to the very first time when I watched the Friday the 13th part 1. I was at my aunt's house, and my mom and aunt were like in another room or something, and I'm flipping through the cable channels, and I just got into Friday the 13th and started. And I thought, oh, goody, I get to watch this. I heard everything about it. You'd seen the trailer. You'd seen the bad review that Siskel and Ebert gave, and I remember asking my mom, no, you don't want to see that. It's, terrible and blah, 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 and all this stuff. And I'm sitting down and I get to watch it. And I was just absolutely just terrified. And then in the end, when she's on the boat, that moment had to be one of the most, I can't think of another time in film when I was absolutely just, the Jason coming out of the water, just absolutely just terror. I was silent, and my goosebumps, and I swear to God, my hair rose on it. Just, and it just scared me so badly. And I just fell in love. And then every so often, I was so young, you couldn't see the films in the theater. You'd have to wait till they came to video, or not, couldn't rent them on video, or they would come to cable, and then you would spend the night at a friend's house, and we're gonna watch Friday the 13th part 2 or part 3. Oh yeah, 3's the one with the hockey mask. Yeah, it's so cool. And you fall in love with that, the slasher stuff and the blood and the pretty girls, falling over. It's that whole. You just fall in love with it. It's just so fun being scared as a kid, and it just continues as you get older. It's just fun. It's this big iconic, this monster and this hockey mask going around killing people it's kind of weird that we get attracted to something like that. and we know, yeah, it's fantasy, but it's fun, and some sort of, it could be, a lot of those movies were escape for me, as a child. Movies and horror movies were an escape. And I just, I loved living in those moments of those, Friday the 13th films. A lot of good memories. Yeah, I remember going to the very first, Friday the 13th in the theater with my sister. She took me, and it was Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning, which again, I don't think it's a very popular one because it wasn't really actually Jason. It was the EMT. And it was, I just thought it was so fun just sitting in the theater and watching this film. And I couldn't wait Monday to get back to school and tell all the kids, I went and saw Friday the 13th, and tell everybody about it. It was, you felt special because you got to see it in the theater, and you're, 12 years old.
Who is your favorite? Oh, I messed it up. Who is your favorite Jason and why?
I've got a couple of them. Of course, Kane Hodder is one of my favorites. They're all different shapes and sizes and different, ages. I like Kane. Ted White. I really love Ted White, and a lot of the stuff that his interviews and everything that, I watched, and about him, on set, and him actually separating himself from, cast and crew when he was fully done up as Jason. I really like that approach. I think it's, and it's nothing personal. It's not being kind of like, isolated from everybody, but in a sense I don't want to talk in my normal voice. I don't want to be like chummy. And, I think Ted had a really good approach, to that, the process of Jason. So I like the look. And then, Richard Brooker, I really like that look of, when the mask is off. And that's another part when, in 3, when his face is bloody and he's looking out the window.
Yes.
And I remember seeing that. I was like, oh my God, that is just so creepy, horrific. And the lazy eye. And I was, because it just looks like this, mongoloid. It really portrays the, I hope I'm saying this right, the hydrocephalic, where children are born with big heads.
Okay.
And it emulated that condition of the medical condition that he had. And it was just so so creepy. Or when he flashes, when he lifts up his mask,
yes,
in the barn, it's just, oh God. It's just, yeah, that one I like. And then I would say Ted White is probably my favorite, but they've all done their own, variation, and there's elements of all of them that I do really like.
Have you seen the alternate ending for Part 3, the screenshots from that?
I have not.
It uses the original Part 3 design, and it has Chris Higgins getting out of the boat, walking up to the house, Jason coming out of the house unmasked with the original Stan Winston design, grabbing her by the hair and then cutting her head off.
Now I'm going to have to watch. So that wasn't in that wasn't in the original VHS copy.
No. The film has never been shown. It's just screenshots taken from the film.
Oh, screenshots. Okay.
It shows Brooker unmasked, all the the stuff they had to do, the setup, the special effects for that shot and everything.
Oh, wow.
I'll send you the link when this is over.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's that one is just that face is just so creepy, because that was the first time that you really saw the unmasking. I mean, I know there was 2, with the burlap sack, mm-hmm. which was great makeup, but this one was just like, oh yeah, the no hair and the eye and just the crazy teeth and spooky.
It's perfect. It's It's perfect. So who was your favorite girl from the franchise?
I always had a thing for Amy Steele
Okay.
as Ginny. She has that, that wholesome look. She's not, this, runway model, but she's not this homely looking person. She's kind of like this very like wholesome, like, country gal, but it's kind of tough. She's got that tough look to her. And I thought she did an excellent job, acting wise. And her red hair or sandy blonde or whatever it is just, yeah, she, and she still looks great. And, she, and then recognizing her in like April Fools and
I love
a
that
couple
movie.
other films. Yeah, that was a good one.
We reviewed it on Gore N
That was a
More.
really good one. Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was the only movie that we actually reviewed that never had any kills in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And because I kind of figured it out, like, I remember watching it at a friend say, oh God, you got to see it. It's really great. It's not what you expected. Well, it kind of set up, because then I was towards the end, I was like, what if this is all just, in the title,
Yes.
April Fools? What if it's all, oh my gosh, it was all a joke. It was all an April Fool's gag. So, that was a good one. Yeah, I've always had a thing for Amy Steele, always. And there's been a lot of other co-stars that you like and everything, and for sure.
What is your favorite Jason Voorhees kill?
My favorite Jason Voorhees kill has to be in part 5 when the two are having sex in the woods and he leans up against the tree.
Yes.
And that horse strap gets wrapped around his eyes and he's just twisting it and you can hear it crack. And I'm just like, and this is the one, probably because I saw it in the theater, I was like, in my head, I was like, oh my God, he's going to like crack his skull with this and just keep twisting it till he dies. And you just think about it. It's so brutal. And I do like Kane Hodder throwing, slamming up in the sleeping bag against the tree. I know that's one of his favorites. And I believe they actually cut some out of it so they could keep an R rating, because I think he does it like several times.
Yeah, I think it was like 4 or 5 times, and like, yeah, that's too much.
That's a good one. The road flare was definitely different in 5. I thought that was kind of cool. But definitely the horse strap or the leather strap with the 2 rings in it and twisting till your cranium collapses. That's
Can I ruin
like
that kill
one.
For you? Can I ruin that kill for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
I think I know what you're going to say. Go for it.
2 of the shots is him turning it to the left, and the one you see last, it's turning to the right.
And it turns to the right. Yeah. And I didn't notice that. Obviously, I didn't notice because you're not really noticing.
Yeah.
I never noticed that originally, but like at one part, like seeing it again or whatever, and then watching, the BTS or the history of the films and watching 5. And then they focus. Oh, and it's like, oh my God, they went the other way, and they touch on that. Yeah.
So, last question. What is your feelings on the current state of Friday the 13th fandom?
I think it's great. It's with social media, it's crazy how, even just getting into this project and, talking to people like you and, seeing Facebook pages like Gore N More and all these fan sites and people just recreating masks and things and weapons and discussion boards. It's crazy. It's absolute. I think it's awesome. And I didn't realize really how big it is until you start going down that rabbit hole. It's awesome. And I think it can only get better, with more people, getting involved and, discussing and different web pages and things like that. it's really nice that fans can reach out to other fans that are, we're halfway across the country and we're discussing, Friday the 13th, Jason Rising, over a podcast. It's awesome. It keeps people involved. It keeps the fire going. And, I could see it just gaining more and more momentum. And, I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's and that's almost in any type of, and I'm sure it's that way with Halloween and Michael Myers. And,
it is.
I think, But I think, Friday the 13th and Jason Voorhees is so iconic and so big that it just generates a lot of popularity and talk and discussion, which I think is great.
I couldn't agree more, man. That very well said. But thank you for coming on the Gore N More podcast.
Well, thank you, TJ, for having me. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure. I'm very excited to what we're going to bring to the fans, and I hope everybody receives it well. And we're going to do our very best to bring something to the table that we've all created, and we can invite the fans to our table and enjoy it all together.
Now, we got 10 days left on your campaign, correct?
I believe it's 10.
And you can still pick up Blu-rays and T-shirts?
Blu-rays and T-shirts, and he's got other couple perks on that. So if you're interested in picking some of those up, visit our Indiegogo and pick something up. That'd be great.
Absolutely. So before we finish the show, I got to show the podcast network. So just a friendly reminder that the Do Back Discussion Network is a podcast network featuring great podcasts such as the one you're listening to right now, the Gore N More podcast, your source for horror, news, and interviews. Oh, and reviews. Also, the Do Back Discussion podcast, your source for Star Wars news, theories, and reviews, and the Hall of Heroes podcast, your source for comic book news, theories, and reviews. And coming soon is the Rabbit Hole podcast featuring yours truly and an unannounced co-host, and the Jerk the Curtain podcast, which is the premier wrestling podcast. Find that all on www.dobackdiscussion.net and visit our TeePublic store to get t-shirts such as the wonderful Gore N More t-shirt, the Do Back Trinity t-shirt, and the Fuck Dan Miller shirt. Well, that's all we have for today, guys. See you on the next episode of the Gore N More podcast. TJ Bowser signing out.
Taken back as long